With no further ado, I will pass now the microphone to Dr. Benjamin Colucci. He is the Puerto Rico PRLTAP Director and will be the moderator for our today's event. Thank you, Dr. Colucci.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Irmali. Welcome to all the representatives of the territories, Federal Highway Administration, USDOT officials, the Executive Director, Mr. Everett, and also the state representatives. This is the 2021 USTPE virtual summit. I will be the moderator of this event on the first day. In my role as a director of the Puerto Rico Local Technical Assistance Program, also known as the Puerto Rico Technology Transfer Center. Next one, please, Imali. Let me give you a brief background of where we're standing right now in this USTPE events. I have to acknowledge all the hard work of the planning committee, Peter, Migdalia, and everyone else that have been involved, Everett. And for the last 3 events, the Puerto Rico PRLTAP has been participating in this event. The main goals and objectives or purposes to have this peer exchange as an advocate and highlight the federal aid programs to the territories both in the Atlantic and the Pacific, provide a technical forum from representatives of each of the U.S. territories and FHWA to connect and share the latest findings, emerging technologies that can benefit their goals in their respective territories. Provide a unique opportunity to communicate and share ideas, experiences, and lessons learned, and learn from each other. And particularly these last 2 years, we saw this events associated with the COVID-19 and all the other issues associated with climatic change, among others, and educate others in the transportation industry and community in general, primarily on the mainland, about the territory's unique needs and issues related to our context. On the next one, we have just for those that are for the first time with us, we started collaborating with this program since August of 2018, when was the first USTPE peer exchange that was held in Lakewood, Colorado. That shows a photo of the participants in the headquarters of the FHWA facilities in Lakewood. At that time, we have a 15% representative from the U.S. Virgin Islands, including the commissioner, 21% of American Samoa, CNMI 23%, Guam 15%, and Puerto Rico 26%. As we move along, these are some highlights of the participants that were from each of the territories and Federal Highway Administration and headquarters as well, with our, as you can see from our flags as well. On the next slide, we also, at that time, we coordinated technical visit to the different locations where the Federal Highway Administration has done some work, and we went to the Guanella Pass Summit area and the Pike National Forest, and also visit some of the ongoing projects. It was a very, there were a lot of lessons learned that all the members of the different territories took that knowledge and applied on their respective islands. As all of us know, the second USTPE was scheduled initially to be on the western part of the United States, LA and or different locations. We finally have to go virtual, and that was our first virtual. And we were also involved in that particular one. We had the distribution of the participants on the right-hand side, very similar, 15% USVI, 34% American Samoa, CMI, 27%, and Puerto Rico, 24%. And as you can see on the left-hand side there, all of us were using our mask. I still have mine here. I'm not sure you can see, but I have my mask as well. And now we're just ready to start our third. And as we move along, this is our official agenda. We are ready to start with the welcoming remarks. It says 5:06. And I will turn to Engineer Thomas D Everett. Thank you very much for being with us. He's the current Executive Director of the Federal Highway Administration. I have a brief bio that I want to share with all of you. He has three major focus areas in his agenda. The first one is sharpening FHWA's focus, managing FHWA resources, and organizing for FHWA future. And we expect from him that he will also share his plan for the territories as well. He also served as the United States first delegate to the World Road Association, most of us know for many, many years as PR, and has been elected to the organization's Executive Committee and Strategic Planning Commission. He also served as the Associate Administrator for FHWA's Office of Infrastructure, and he led key program areas dealing with design, construction, and preservation of pavements, bridges, tunnels, as well as asset management, transportation performance management, ER or emergency relief, consultant services, and construction contract administration. He served as the office director for the Office of Program Administration, where he guided stewardship and oversight of the federal aid program. And he held several positions as a structural engineer team leader in the Office of Bridges and Structures, bridge management inspection, engineering in the Resource Center, technical programs team leader in the Tennessee Division, and structural engineer in FHWA's former Region 3. Engineer Everett joined FHWA in 1985. That was the year that I finished also my PhD at Purdue University as a highway engineer trainee. He's a registered professional engineer and holds a master's degree in civil engineering from Johns Hopkins University and a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Rutgers University. With further ado, let's welcome Engineer Thomas D. Everett. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Colucci. Can you give me a thumbs up? Can you hear me okay? Excellent. Very pleased to be here today, and thank you for that introduction. I really want to say thank you to the entire USTPE, its committee, all of its representatives, and all of the participants that are here today. You really deserve our appreciation at USDOT and FHWA, because despite the limitations that the pandemic has presented to all of us, both personally and professionally, the USTPE has found a way, has been resilient, and has endured. You've held, my understanding, not just this virtual meeting, but also one back in 2020. So I applaud you all for finding a way to continue this good exchange, even with the challenges that we've had because of the pandemic. I think that really shows the unified commitment that we have to ensuring that our nation's highways, which certainly includes the territories and Puerto Rico, are among the best and safest in the world. And at DOT, we have a long-standing relationship and commitment to the U.S. territories and Puerto Rico through the Territorial Highway Program that was created back in 1970, and the Puerto Rico Highway Program, which was first started in 1998. But actually, our relationship with the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico goes back even further, when Puerto Rico, for years, was treated as a state under the Federal Aid Highway Program for the purposes of apportioning funds. Both of these programs that we have provided for the construction and improvement of countless highway systems in Puerto Rico and the territories, which has assisted with economic development, not only locally, but I'd say also nationally through tourism and agriculture and access to foreign trade. Both programs have also provided critical infrastructure that serves key facilities, which play a strategic role in national defense. And our commitment, I think, to this part of the nation has never been more evident than in the aftermath of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. To date, FHWA has provided over $500 million in emergency relief program funding, as well as a lot of technical support and assistance throughout the recovery process. And a lot of that coming from our federal lands people who've just done a fantastic job down there and a lot of work. I've taken a look at this year's agenda for the Peer Exchange. I think it's equally as exciting as the agendas I've seen in the past years. And the scheduled speakers are very impressive. I know many of them personally. And so you're in for a real treat and a good session. I'm confident of that. You've got a wide breadth of topics, from state planning and research to asset management to design and construction and bridge inspection, near and dear to my heart. As you heard, I came up through the agency mostly in the bridge world, and specifically in the bridge inspection area. So I wish I could stick around for that discussion, but unfortunately I won't be able to. But also our financial management information system, which was one of our key data systems that we operate in FHWA, because it's the one that ensures that the bills get paid when the states have come to us for some reimbursement. We track all of that through our FMIS system, which you'll be talking about. So I know there are several other speakers here in this first session I want to get out of the way, but I wish you all well and success for this peer exchange. I'm very confident that you will get a lot out of it. And I hope next time that it will be face-to-face, because I think something gets lost in the virtual environment, but we do the best we can. And again, I just want to reiterate that our commitment to the territories is it's unwavering. We're always available and ready to provide support and assistance that's needed. And I'd say if there is ever anything that is needed, please reach out to our staff in the FHWA Division Office for your territory, or the Office of Infrastructure. We coordinate on things with our division offices, so you've got some options on the outreach. The Office of Infrastructure administers the programs that I mentioned, and so any questions about the programs would also be handled by them as well as our division. So welcome everyone. I hope you have a great peer exchange, and thanks for the opportunity to talk to you all very briefly here today. I will turn it back to you, Dr. Colucci.
Thank you very much, Mr. Executive Director, Engineer Everett. I want also to give you a welcome also on behalf of our students and professionals from the University of Puerto Rico, that many of them pursue graduate work and they receive the Dwight David Eisenhower Transportation Fellowship Program and other programs, and they every year go to TRB, and they are very happy and grateful that Federal Highway Administration has the students in their priority, the next generation of transportation professionals to take care of the challenges that we're going to have in infrastructure in the territories, the United States, and in the world. Then on behalf of our students, thank you very much. And you having Puerto Rico and every other territory, our deepest appreciation for everything you're doing for us. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Irmali, then we will continue with the next welcome remarks, please. Following the agenda, our next presenter that will give welcome remarks is Engineer Valentina Voigt. She's the Department of Public Works Director from American Samoa. She holds a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Idaho State University. She's also a PE from the state of Hawaii. And prior to being appointed DPW director, she served as a deputy director of the American Samoa DPW. With further ado, Engineer Valentina, and thank you for being with us in this 2021 virtual USTPE Summit.
Talofa, half a day, Aloha, good
Aloha.
morning, good afternoon. It is with great pleasure on behalf of Governor Lemanu Peleti Maunga and Lieutenant Governor Talawenga Edasalo Ale to extend our warm greetings from American Samoa. Talofa, talofa lava. I also would like to acknowledge the efforts of those behind the scene in putting together this second virtual U.S. territorial peer exchange. A milestone at this level, we just completed our first virtual NSTI program, Fatsai Lava. Thank you for the opportunity to continue our dialogue among the territories to share our stories and to discuss and address issues, challenges that we as territories face. A lot has been happening in the last 3 years since we last met in Colorado. We recognize the influx of federal assistance due to COVID-19, and with it comes more projects, more resources required for the execution and project delivery. We recognize the challenges, the restrictions and limitations that the COVID-19 pandemic has imposed to project development. Borders being closed, quarantine requirements in place, supply and demand issues, thus the material shortages in cement, rebar, lumber, to name a few, in the global market. We are very concerned in the project development throughout this year and the next 2 years in making sure that we have the resources that we be able to execute and deliver these projects. We also like to recognize our territorial representative, Gabriel Kirsch. It's about 2 months now since she's been officially assigned to American Samoa. Thank you, Gabriel. Prior to that, we also like to recognize Jose Boris. She was with us in that USTPE in Colorado back in 2018. After Jose, in the interim was Mr. Kaha'a Vicentes. After Kaha'a, we had David Severance for a few months. And then we're looking forward to Gabriel for a long-term, sustainable collaboration with American Samoa. We're looking forward to this opportunity and appreciate for making sure that we will keep this a dialogue among the territories. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Falosina Voigt. We're very happy that you can see all of the people in American Samoa that are present in this meeting. I just counted like 14. How many are you all together? We have some on the left-hand side.
16, 17, including director.
17, okay. Thank you very much. Imali, we will return with the official agenda. What is the next welcome remark that we have right now? We have MS Laurene Sanchez. She is a program coordinator from CNMI. She got her degree in business management and accounting. She served in the DPW for over 10 years and served as program coordinator for highways for 5 years. Currently, she's in charge of tracking all federal funds for the program, for all the projects, and she assists engineers in tracking the completion and status of the projects. With further ado, let's welcome MS Laurene Sanchez. Hi, Laurene.
Hi, Dr. Colucci. Thank you for that. Half a day, everyone, to all participants for attending. I know the time difference. I know we probably all had to make adjustments or sacrifices to be here with us, so welcome. You are here, and together let us make the most of the peer exchange, for you have chosen the topics to be presented, and hope you look forward to an insightful and informative conference. On behalf of the CNMI Department of Public Works, I would like to thank everyone who made this event possible, Peter, Everett, and Migdalia, and your committee for your hard work in planning and coordinating the conference. Dr. Colucci and Ermali, Puerto Rico LTAP, gracias for your continued assistance, most especially of the technical aspects of the conference. Also, much appreciation for Federal Highway Administration Headquarters on their continued support of the territories and the peer exchange, and to the presenters for taking the time to share their knowledge. My message is quite short, but again, thank you to everyone. Let us be present and engaged. Buenas and Sizus Moasi.
Thank you, Laurene, and we hope that all the representatives from CNMI and American Samoa and all the other territories will get additional knowledge on the virtual presentation that we're going to have as part of this 2021 virtual summit. We will continue with the official program with the next welcome remark. In this case, is someone that I personally know for several years. It's with my respect and admiration. He was my former student, engineer and Dr. Edwin Gonzalez. He's currently the Puerto Rico Highway and Transportation Authority Executive Director. He has over 14 years of experience in infrastructure, real asset investment and finance decisions, public sector procurement, and public-private partnership. He led the CPM and Public-Private Partnership and Strategic Advisory Division in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. He served as project engineer and aide to the executive director of the Puerto Rico's Public-Private Partnership Authority. He got his PhD from Virginia Polytechnic and State University, and has a Master of Science in Civil Engineering from our university, University of Puerto Rico at Mayagüez in the area of construction, engineering and management, as well as a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from our university as well. He's also, before he was appointed by the governor to be the executive director, we used to work together at the Institute of Civil Engineers in the Board of Directors. And I appreciate all his knowledge and availability to work with the governor in these 4 years. Please, I'm glad to welcome Engineer Edwin Gonzalez.
The respect is very mutual. So thank you all this afternoon. Buenos dias, buenas tardes. I know we're all around the world. Very much looking forward once COVID is done with, so we can talk about this and meet face to face. Very much looking forward to that. I've looked at the panels for today and the next 2 days. Very interesting set of events. So thank you for the organizing committee, Dr. Colucci, Imali, and the Federal Highway Administration divisions for putting this together. So on behalf of the Governor of Puerto Rico and everyone here, we're looking every day to improve. I know all of you guys are. My PhD was in innovation, and sometimes we forget what innovation really is, because it's not something that is entirely new. It's novel to the jurisdiction. So we can look at things that are being done across the nation or internationally, and we can apply to our jurisdictions, and that will be innovative to our territory. So something that just we need to keep in mind while we're going to be talking about these days is something that is very interesting. So looking forward to the conversations, and thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Engineer Edwin Gonzalez, PRLTAP Executive Director. I hope the technical presentation will be very useful for all the territories, including the latest innovations that apply to our unique context. Imali, we have one more welcome remark, if I understood. Thanks again. Our next welcome remark is by Mr. Derek A. Gabriel. He's the Department of Public Works Commissioner from the U.S. Virgin Islands. He holds a bachelor's degree in history from the University of Delaware, has served as a Director of Development and Community Relations, as Project Assistant for AECOM, USVI Territory Manager of APTIM. He's a former Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement and was the manager of the lumberyard on St. John and helped oversee the recovery efforts after the property was destroyed by Hurricanes Irma and Maria in 2017. Welcome, Mr. Derek A. Gabriel.
Thank you, Dr. Colucci. I appreciate it. First of all, good afternoon and good morning to all of my colleagues. Welcome to the United States Territorial Virtual Peer Exchange. On behalf of Governor Albert Bryan and Lieutenant Governor Tregenza A. Roach of the United States Virgin Islands, I welcome you to this wonderful opportunity to share ideas, cultures, and opportunities. Of course, though we are separated by several thousand miles of water, there's so much that we can learn from one another, whether we're here in the Caribbean or in the Pacific. I always think that opportunities like this to talk to our territorial partners in the Pacific brings time for change, growth, and to adapt lessons learned to use here in our territory. Of course, while we have similar challenges, we also have unique challenges or challenges unique to our geographic locations. So as we're talking and as we're exchanging these ideas, we can kind of see where we want to go, but where we're looking to be in the next 10, 20, and 30 years. Of course, I want to give a special thank you to our representative on this committee, Mr. Peter Gajewski. Thank you for all you do, not only planning this worthwhile exchange, but really on a day-to-day basis for the people of the territory. Dr. Colucci, I want to thank you and everyone in Puerto Rico, as well as our partners in the American Samoa, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, and Puerto Rico for all that you do on a continued basis. I look forward to this exchange. We look forward to the opportunities to learn from one another, but more importantly, I look forward to the opportunity, like everyone said, to get back together in person, hopefully next year. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless and continue to stay safe.
Thank you very much, Derek Gabriel. Irmali is asking me a personal request, and she knows that I love to take photos. I'm not sure all of you are available and willing to take a photo. She's asking just a photo of the welcome remarks. If those of you that gave the welcome remarks are available and willing to open your image, we can take a photo right now. We have 1 minute to do that if you're available. If not, Irmali, let's see who's available. I'm just wondering, Derek, we have how many? 5? Okay, we have Edwin Gonzalez, we have Laurene, we have 2. I'm not sure if Mr.
I'm not sure
Everett,
if, yes, that was what was gonna say.
well, you have Derek Gabriel and
Irmali, our director had to step out for another meeting, but we did take a group photo before she left, so we'll email that over.
No problem, thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Irmali, it's up to you. You can take
Okay, I'll take some photos and I'll do a Photoshop with adding the other photos, don't
okay,
worry.
Derek is there, and as a matter of fact, we can add Mr. Everett later on, no problem, as long as he doesn't mind. Well, Irmali, go ahead, and thanks again for your welcome remarks. Irmali, it's all yours.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, Irmali, there's a group picture right now. Are you getting the group photo as well? Go
Hold
ahead
for a
and add
second.
the group. Laurene, return back,
Yes.
please. Please. Now, we're united, we make the difference. We're a big group.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
now,
going
okay.
again.
Yeah.
got it.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Well, now we're going to continue with the official program with the plenary session. We will start with Engineer Jill Stark. Irmali, you're going to return to the official program, is that correct?
Okay, let's see.
Not yet, Jill. Give me
Okay.
Give me 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8. Okay. Thanks again. We're back to the official program. Engineer Jill Stark, she's going to give a presentation for us. She holds a Master of Science in Public Policy and Management from Carnegie Mellon University, Bachelor of Arts, a BA in Liberal Arts from the University of Kansas. And she has been with the Federal Highway Administration for over 19 years, and everyone knows that's my lucky number. Serving as a community planner, planning PDP, transportation planner, and planning liaison. She has also worked in the FHWA's Office of Planning in North Carolina Division Office, and in the United Nations Development Program and the University of Kansas. This morning, this afternoon, or this evening, depending where you are, she will give us a presentation regarding the State Planning and Research SPR program in her role as the acting manager of the Pool Fund and SPRB manager. Jill, it's all yours, and thank you for accepting the invitation.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. And let's see, do I need to share my screen to bring up the presentation, or?
Imali, we have your presentation. Imali, are we going to
there
continue?
We go.
Yes.
That's perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so yes, thank you again for having me here. And I am the acting program manager for Pooled Fund and SPRB, which is State Planning and Research B. And today I'm just going to do an overview and some eligibility for SPRA as well as SPRB. Okay. And so this is the agenda, just going through requirements and just overviews. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So SPR is a set aside of 2% of most federal aid highway program funds. So the purpose is really about looking for future highway programs, planning for that for local public transportation systems, planning for financing of those programs and systems, including metropolitan and statewide planning, and then also conducting research, development, and technology, which we love to speak in acronyms at Federal Highway. So this is Rdnt, transfer activities. And this is necessary in connection with the said planning, design, and construction and management. So a minimum of 25% of state planning and research funds must be spent on research, development, and technology. And that's again relating to highway, public transportation, and intermodal transportation. And next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. Great. So SPRB, this is really, the guidance is to assist federal highway staff and State Department of Transportation's really in 4 areas. One is to implement a program of research, development, and technology activities for planning, design, construction, and maintenance of highways and public and intermodal transportation systems. So all the public transit and any intermodal transportation systems. And then developing, establishing, and implementing a management process that identifies these activities, document a management process, and then, you know, always we put in, you know, our codes so that you can reference if you want to go and do a deeper dive into the regulations. We link all those, and that's 23 CFR 420. And then finally, to conduct periodic peer exchanges of the research, development, and technology program. Next slide, please. So the changes in FAST Act, it really brought SPRB guidance current with the existing laws because it was a little bit outdated before. And it also expanded the eligibility. So that includes innovation life cycle. And that's in identifying a need, establishing the scope of research to address that need, setting an agenda, carrying out research, development, deployment, and testing, and then also carrying out an evaluation, so doing a cost-benefit evaluation. And next slide, please. And so really the main overview is authorizing the use of SPRB funds to develop, administer, and communicate and promote those use of products. Next slide. So it also included the adoption of requirements. And most of you're probably familiar with Title II CFR 200, and that's really talking about what costs are eligible and what funding programs have different eligibility requirements. So that's one of those lovely bedtime readings if you want to add that to your list. But that's actually that's probably a really handy guidance or your regulations to keep in mind. And so that requires performance measurements. That was really new with the last legislation, and performance measurements, the main goal of that is really to add a layer of transparency to the decision-making process. So instead of just saying, well, these were the projects chosen, it's looking at things like safety and different areas to really weigh the importance of in your region. And then it requires effective internal control, requirement for a period of performance, including an end date, reinforces a pass-through agency responsibility for sub-recipient compliance, clarifies closeout, cost principles, and then indirect cost responsibilities and approval. And so those definitions of specific relationships, subcontracting is very common to private partnerships or universities. So that's something to keep in mind, that SPRB can be subcontracted by the state DOT. That's probably an important tidbit. And next slide, please. So again, there's about 10 main eligible SPR activities. And this is both subparts A and B. So B is really your research. A is more education and training. So those, let's see. So in those eligible, it's engineering, economic surveys and investigations, future highway programs, and local public transportation systems planning and financing of those. Management systems plans and process development and implementation. Economic safety and, oops, I'm seeing, oh, okay, sorry, I thought I saw a question in the chat pod. Economic safety and convenience studies of surface transportation systems, and the desirable regulation and equitable taxation. Next slide, please. So research, development, and technology transfer activities necessary in connection with the planning, design, construction, management, and maintenance. Study, research, and training on engineering standards. The conduct of activities related to the planning of real-time monitoring. And next slide, please. So, oops, I think we went one. There we go. Okay, included in 23.420, the definitions that are applicable to state planning and research B is means a basic or applied research project or study, means a systematic study directed toward fuller scientific knowledge or understanding. And then applied research means a study where you're gaining knowledge or understanding necessary for determining the means. So you know, if you ever want to look at a variety of different programs or different projects that have SPRB funding available or used towards it, I would go to the pooledfund.org. And that's a list of all of our pooled fund studies. I did a quick search. I just did coastal and came up with about 12 different projects. And so open pooled fund studies, you know, you can always, you know, contribute or benefit just by reading their research. And it can be under any sort of research that you can think. So if you're wanting to look at a specific pavement type, or you're wanting to look at, there was actually one about tsunamis and that impact. There's, you know, I'm sure several on hurricanes. And, you know, a lot of this research that's going on either can directly benefit you or indirectly. And next slide, please. Okay. So also we're going into more eligibility. So basic research, development, and technology transfer. So, you know, technology transfer is really about those activities that lead to the adoption of a new technique or product by users, demonstration, training, other activities. Okay, next slide, please. All right, and then I'll go through the quick SPRA, which is really the education and training. But these work programs are annual or biennial. They're statements of work. And these work programs identify activities that support or are components of the broader transportation planning process. And then that serves for the federal aid planning or PL funds grant application. Okay, next slide, please. And in my other hat, when I'm not acting manager, I work in the Office of Planning, and my director, Ken Petty, is over, he's the manager for SPRA. So who needs to have a work program and why? So states and MPOs that use planning funds, they all have annual work programs. And that's a statement of work for a grant application for federal aid planning funding. And so this is a joint review by Federal Highway and Federal Transit. And then we're just looking at eligible and reimbursable planning activities. And next slide, please. So now we go with eligible costs. Necessary and reasonable, verifiable from the state DOT, eligible under 23 USC, allowable. And you notice how everything seems very open to interpretation, and that's intentional because we don't want to impose, there might be a state that is, you know, much stricter in what they deem eligible, or it might not pertain to them because they don't have it in there. And it might only be something that would be beneficial to, you know, maybe a smaller state or maybe a northern state. So we want to keep that open so that each federal highway division can work to determine that the intent of the law is being made. And if we start defining too narrowly, that's really actually going to cut into, you know, some of the openness of eligibility items that you might consider that because they weren't stated in there, they wouldn't be allowed. So we're trying to avoid that by keeping that language open. Okay, next slide, please. So some of these internal resources, the Planning Discipline SharePoint and the Field Planner's Guidebook, those are internal to Federal Highway, but we also do have, you know, at any point you can put in a request for more information if you need training, if you need presentations, if you need, you know, other sort of educational assistance, you can put that request in. Okay, next slide, please. And then here are some external resources. So we had the National Highway Institute, And this is really nice because a lot of their training, and I do a lot of NHI courses, we've been converting as much of those to at least a hybrid of virtual and in-person. And that's somewhat to cut down on cost, but it's also to kind of answer, especially when there's large demand and there isn't just enough people to travel and train. And also for this last year, it's been very, very helpful to do that as well. So we've kind of looked at doing a lot of our courses through there. And so here are some statutes and regulations. And then we have a couple of links, which is the Policy and Guidance Center, and then the Office of Planning, Environment, and Realty's website. Okay, next slide, please. So here are the tools and agreements. So agreements are that each state has a planning memorandum of agreement between Federal Highway and Federal Transit, and this is what joint activities they can do if one agency can act for the other. Kind of lays out our different roles and responsibilities. The planning formula, the planning funds, that's what PL is, those planning funds, consolidated planning grants, FHWA state DOT stewardship agreement, and then we have different procedures, you know, for UPWP is that work plan. It's a unified planning work program. So that's that annual work program we were talking about at the beginning. And then the state guidance manual. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, finally, we're into the requirements. So State Developed Management Plan, which is a process established for conducting research and technology. So the FHWA division administrator must certify the plan, and that's for each division. So if you had the, you know, say the Hawaii division, it'd be the Hawaii division administrator that would certify that. And it must be a periodic peer exchange every 3 years. So this is a full process certification that's included. Next slide, please. And so the next couple of slides just go into quick requirements. And so you have a process that prioritizes research and development technology activities for inclusion in that work program. Use of all planning and research funds set aside. Procedures for tracking program activities, schedules, accomplishments, and fiscal commitments. And you could see actually a very good way of tracking that through that pooled fund site that would give you a really great sample of how to do that. Support and use of the Transportation Research Information Service and Progress databases, and that's through TRB. Those are really, really nice. You'll see so many different innovations and so many different research projects in there, and they have everything in there. So, you know, I've been yet to be stumped. Even when I think that there's no way they could possibly have something on there, they usually do. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and then our final list of requirements is that peer exchange that I mentioned earlier, that's every 3 years, procedures for documenting and preparing final reports. So that final report would have data collected, analyses performed, conclusions, recommendations, and the state DOT must actively implement appropriate research findings and should document benefits. So again, we talk about the peer exchanges for other state DOT programs every 3 years, and then that documentation again. And you see a theme. We love to document because we want to show the transparency of decisions and transparency of the program. And next slide, please. So developing a research manual. You're determining the usefulness and implementation potential of the research. So you really want to look at projects that are going to be meaningful to you, and usually over a long-term program. So even if they're short-term research results, you really want to make sure that they're going to have long-term benefits to your transportation program. And then assessing that research using project and program accomplishments, improve research through coordination of several disciplines. And really that's to break down those silos. So you're not just working with hydraulics engineers, but you're also looking at how does that impact safety? How does that impact possibly, environmental? I mean, if there are multiple people that at some point will be beneficial or can streamline the process, it's really about breaking down those silos. And then finally, determining the continuation potential of a research project based on a periodic review of its progress. So if this is something that you feel once you did your research, you're actually finding more things that you need to research, having a reevaluation and going, maybe we need to add to the scope of work and we need to do this a little bit longer, or if you feel like you're finalizing that, not to keep putting money to something that is nearly complete. And next slide. And so Jack Jernigan is the team director. He's extremely knowledgeable. And he's a really wonderful resource. Feel free to contact him and or myself at any point. As I said, I'm the acting manager while Patricia Sergeson is out on family leave. And so with that, I'm happy to, if we have time to take questions or, thank you again for having me here today.
Thank you, Jill. If you don't mind, we're going to leave the questions for the end. We still have 5 speakers and 5 minutes for each speaker. And if not, we will write the questions on the chat and you can answer them later on, okay?
Sounds great, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Excellent presentation, very complete. We're going to the next presentation. Irmali, please show the official program again. We're going to have 5 presentations. We're going to have 2 from American Samoa, 1 from CMMI, 1 from Puerto Rico, and 1 from USVI.
Yes, let me upload the edited presentation just for a second.
Any other thought that you want to share, Jill, before we go to the other presentations that you want to share with our people from the territories?
I think maybe just taking a closer look at those pooled fund projects on the pooledfund.org, because, being, especially being, partnering up with any of those initiatives, I always think it's a great program because you don't have to dedicate all of your funding, but you can dedicate, contribute smaller amounts and have multiple states working together and universities and organizations and really getting a lot of beneficial research. So that's probably would be my elevator pitch.
Thank you very much, Jill. We're going to proceed with the territorial presentations. We have at least 5 minutes for each one of you. We will start with the first presentation. Imali is going to be from American Samoa, the first one. Yes, I believe so. Thank you, Imali. Our first presentation will be in charge of 2 of our extended family from American Samoa. We're going to have Ruben Ciatus. He's the chief engineer of the Civil Highway Division. He has been project inspector for public works for a period of from 2003 to 2016. And for the last 5 years, he has been project manager for the public works. In the case of Doris, I believe it's Cipelis. She's a project engineer, and she has been working as a civil engineer for public works for 2015 to present. Maybe you can tell me how to pronounce better. How you pronounce your last name, Doris? How Cipelis? How you pronounce?
Oh, no, Cipeli, Cipeli is fine.
Cipeli, okay. Okay, thank you, I apologize. Well, my dear extended family from America, Samoa, it's all yours. Your report from your organization. Thank you.
Thank you. With me on this presentation is actually Lofa Tanubasa. Those are his credentials and his picture. It's not Ruben Siatu. This is Ruben. You remember Ruben?
I thought Ruben. I said I don't know what happened. You lost. I remember my buddy, but I'm glad we clarified that, and we will fix that on the official presentation.
So, his name is on it. He's just gonna do a brief introduction to the Civil Highway Division before we move on to the presentation.
Go ahead, Ruben.
Sorry, let me take a couple seconds just to introduce the staff. So, hello everyone, good evening. Hey Ben, nice to see you again. It seems like you never aged, my friend. Anyway, we have here our three sections within our division. It's a very small division of 16 of us, and there's the admin part, the design part, and the construction. And it's being headed by myself. And we're going to present on the construction project that we would like to showcase some of the issues and some of the conflicts that we ran into and how we resolved them. And our presenters will be Alessi Doris Cipeli, the chief design or one of our engineers, and Mr. Olofo Tanubasa, who's been a project manager for the past 5 years, like you noted. It's nice to see everybody. Well, not really see everybody, but hopefully we'll have a good experience for the rest of this peer exchange. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we going to have an official presentation now from the other people on the territory?
Yeah, I think there was a slide that was emailed over by Tanya to Ermali, just to go over a quick construction project that we'd like to touch base on.
Yes, yes, Imali is double checking. Go ahead, Imali. Okay.
Is this the presentation you're going to be doing now?
That's the one.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ermali. So with this project, the Route 5 Angasi'i Bridge design build, what has started off with this project was a shoreline revetment during our tsunami disaster. And upon repairing the revetment, there was a noted collapse or deterioration on the existing bridge, which would affect the vehicle. At the time, Army Corps was our consultant for the tsunami project for the revetment. And so it was understandable to have them consult for the design build for the Angasi'i Bridge. Unfortunately, there was some challenges, some obstacles going through in trying to modify the design build, having it approved and whatnot. So it ended up being a request to have DPW not only manage the project and pull away from our consultant, and that's what we did. Thankfully, unfortunately, this project has been a 5-year in the making. It's been planned, design build since 2016, and we didn't really construct until 2019. And finally completed late 2020, early 2021. At this time, we only have like our pictures for the project itself, and I'll turn the time over to our project manager, Alofa Tanubasa, who has overseen and managed this project from the beginning to the end. Next slide, please, Armani.
So as Doris noted, the project kind of kick off in February. That's when everything was signed. All the plans were submitted to DPW for review and also specifications. And then that's when we give the okay to proceed with the project. So the challenge facing this project as the pandemic hits it delays all the shipments for our rebar to meet the Buy America as noted in federal highway specifications. And not only that, it was border closure for our territory. So all the tier tax for the contractor that was contracted by the contract didn't make the trip to come down to American Samoa during the project. Everything was like prepared by the contractor and sent over to the tier tax in Australia and New Zealand, and then they have to make their decisions and then forward to DPW American Samoa for approval or any actual comments or anything. So that was one of the challenges, and also the shipments. It delays all the material from off island. So we gotta work with it, and also we have to coordinate with the village because this bridge. It's on the other side, there's a school and also residents that reside on the other side. So we have to coordinate with all the utilities, all the emergency personnel, and also accommodate, because on the other side is the water well for Asphalt to provide water within the village. So we have to do like a change order to modify the water system that attaches to the bridge. And then in April, that's when we started precasting the units for the bridge, and there was an additional change order for a footpath or a walkway over the stream to accommodate the people on the other side, and also Public Works has to provide a vehicle for the resident that reside on the other side to help with the transportation of each individuals to work and everything. So, and also provide
Armani, next slide, please. Sorry.
extra hand to accommodate the school. And so, as per the photo, that's when the contractors start mobilization to the site.
Next slide, please.
And that's during construction. That's the demolition of the bridge. The span of the bridge is 21 feet, and the width of the bridge is 24. So as you see, we have to demo out the bridge and also prep the foundation for the new units to go in. That's when the foundation has been prepped, and then the units are installed, and also proceed with the construction of the deck, and also battering on the side of the approach slab. So on the inlet and the outlet of the project of the bridge is all GRP, and those wing walls, all the existing wing walls towards the ocean where the existing tri-bar revetment is at, it stays the same. So that's going to help us on ordering more materials for the wing walls.
Next slide, I think that would be our last.
So this project was, like Doris was saying, it took a while to kick off, but in November, that's when we completed the project, and all the guardrails and the new bridge is ready for the villagers. So we have to close down the whole that section of the road for 2.5 months in order for have the traffic on top of it as we work on the other minor stuff along the bridge. So actually, that's one of the design build project for American Samoa. We had another design build project, but this was like 6 years ago, and this was for another bridge in Leone that was damaged during the tsunami of 2009.
Yep.
So I think that's about it. Doris, you have anything else?
And that is like close to the end result we have there. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you for the presentation. Ruben, we're still looking for our photos that we have when we were in Lakewood. Sooner or later, I'm going to present those photos when you were carrying myself and a body in mind, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're going to leave the questions for the end. Very good presentation. Imali, what's the next presentation from the territories that we have on the agenda?
Yes, sorry. The shoreline protection presentation is not for now, right? American Samoa?
Ruben, Marley has a question if we're going to have the second presentation from you guys right now, from the shoreline protection. Is that correct?
Correct. That's my question. Okay.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The second presentation I received, is it for now? Are you presenting now?
It's for tomorrow.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
I think that's that coastal one, right? Or was it tomorrow or Thursday?
Yes.
I think it's Thursday, the coastal erosion.
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
All
Thank
right,
you very much. Okay, then we will keep moving. We're just in track for the next presentation in Mali. Is that the CNMI? Meridian? Is Laurene going to give us that presentation? I already she gave the welcome remarks when we started the session, and she will be in charge of giving the presentation representing CNMI. Laurene, it's your turn. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Armali, you got my slide, or do you want me to share?
I got it, and I'm uploading it. Can you see my screen? Okay, can you see it? Got it.
Yes, then Laurene, you can go ahead with the presentation of the Northern Mariana Islands. Go ahead. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So aloha, talofa, hola, and hello from CNMI. Next slide. For those of you who don't already know, for the new participants, we are located in the North Pacific Ocean, and the CNMI is the 14 northern islands that make up the Mariana Islands. Out of the 14, Saipan is the capital. And together with Tinian and Rota, we are the only 3 islands with federally designated and funded highways. Next slide. So this is what we look like on the globe. You know, those little dots in the middle of the ocean. We're about 4 hours away from Japan or Korea, 8 hours away from Hawaii, and about 12 hours from California. Next slide. All right, back from all that traveling. So the oversight agreement between the Federal Highway Administration and the CNMI government falls with DPW-TSD Highways. Our department head is Secretary James Ada, and our division director is Anthony Camacho. They send their apologies for not being able to be here with us today. Next slide. Technical Services Division, where we fall under, has several sections. There's the engineering and traffic and architectural, which are for local projects and funded by the local government. Then there's us highways with Lorraine Villagomez as the administrator. Next slide. Our projects are coming along. I guess just the greatest impact the COVID-19 pandemic made on our projects is in the procurement of materials due to shipment delays and increase in prices. Other than that, they've been coming along just fine. These are 3 of our design projects right now. Our master plan, we hope to complete by mid next year. We have designs for Route 310 to our Montepulcho and 317 Gualarai Road. I'm sorry, there's a typo there. It's right, 317 for Gualarai Road with drainage improvement. And those 2 should be completed by October of this year. Next slide. We also have 4 emergency relief projects as well. We are still recovering from Super Typhoon Yutu of 2018, and we have 3 for Saipan, 1 for Tinian. Next slide. In the past 3 months, though, we've been able to break ground on new projects. One is Airport Road. The other is Cross Island Phase 2, which is pictured here. This was during the groundbreaking ceremony. Next slide. Here's an aerial view or just a photo of what Route 36 Phase 2 is. Next slide. And if you notice, this is also Route 36 Phase 2. If you notice the two areas that are circled, those are fairly large, like culverts. They're about 8 feet high, 16 feet wide, and 120 feet long each. These will be the closest things to bridges for us here in the CNMI. Okay, next slide. The third groundbreaking was for our traffic signal light system installation on Quartermaster, which is a major collector road that flows out to our main highway up front known as Beach Road. As for Tinian and Rhoda, they have one project currently ongoing right now. Next slide. Okay, these are projects that are going to meet the end obligations for the end of this fiscal year. For Saipan, we have the 4, and Tinian, we have 2 coming up. Next slide. Again, next slide. And these projects will be coming through shortly after 2022, 2023, which will complete our current 4-year TTIP. Next slide. Okay, so aside from road projects, we were blessed with continuing on with our National Summer Transportation Institute, NSTI, but actually this year we were able to run the first Pacific Summer Transportation Education Program known as PACSTEP. It was conducted virtually through the University of Hawaii Manoa College of Engineering with Dr. Roger Chen. With the hard work of Dr. Roger Chen and Bode, thank you so much to Bode and Dr. Chen for this. Next slide. So the PACSTEP is an NSTI program, as mentioned earlier, but catered to American Samoa, CNMI, and Guam to allow for more students to avail the opportunity within our allocated budget, offering still a quality learning experience at a fraction of the cost because travel-wise, it was a lot closer and all the activities were within the same locale. For CNMI, we're able to recruit 4 high school students. The challenge of recruitment was just securing a venue large enough to hold more students due to the COVID pandemic restrictions. Most of the conference rooms were closed off, and for rental and government centers were being utilized as vaccination sites. So we were only able to bring in the 4 to foster a sense of a sense of learning actually being here, even though remotely, and allow for some face-to-face engagement, if only just amongst the 4 of them, before and after their live virtual sessions with Hawaii. They had a couple of field trips. The top photo here is when they attended the groundbreaking for Quartermaster for the traffic light installation. And then the one at the bottom, that again is the Route 36 groundbreaking, which the students were actually, they're the ones in the yellow box. They were actually able to participate in breaking ground alongside our secretary and director and elected officials. Next slide. In Hawaii, though, the students were able to go on site for the learning experience, as well as being in the campus. CNMI, Guam, and American Samoa participants were online with them throughout the whole day, or it's about 4 hours a day. Some of the topics that included were GIS, ArchMap, extended curbs and roundabouts, HDOT material learning testing lab, and the TTIP, to name a few. The photo on the bottom was just the last day. We're able to host a small luncheon to thank them for their participation. Next slide. This is our CNMI PSS Construction Bootcamp. Shortly after NSTI ended, July 6th, we're asked to host for 2 interns here at the highway for the public school systems bootcamp. They were able to go out on on-site project inspections, as well as learning about AutoCAD and other program-related activities. Their last day is actually this Friday. So, all right, next slide. Another highlight with what's going on with us here now is that, again, through the support of Dr. Chen and Bode, together with our local college here, we're able to now secure a 2-year degree program associated in arts in liberal arts with an emphasis in pre-engineering. So this fall will actually be the first semester where for it to run. So we're excited about that. Our NSTI students and the bootcamp students, we've already gave them information about this program and how to apply for scholarship, how to apply for the college, to the college, the local college, and then we're also able to, we informed them that the credits are transferable to University of Hawaii of Manoa College of Engineering, and we're working with, looking into University of Guam as well, to see how the credits, if they're transferable, just as well as maybe the mainland. Next slide. Okay, so just, I guess, just a little update on the COVID out here, the COVID situation. So these are our numbers. You can actually get our data or statistics off of our governor.gov.mp website, as well as chcc.gov.mp. They work closely with CDC to track diagnosed cases, positive cases, whether it's through travel, community screening, known contact. Next slide. This is our vaccination stats. So far, we have about 29,000 fully vaccinated, 61,000 vaccines administered. We've met our 70% fully vaccinated goal. We need about a little over 4,000 to meet our 80% fully vaccinated goal. These numbers are as of July 25th. Next slide. Okay, so this was all the vaccination outreach, how to get them out there. Like I said, most of the government buildings or community centers are being used for vaccination outreach. I think they operate pretty much 7 days a week. Next slide. Again, just photos from their efforts in getting people vaccinated and tested. Next slide. And of course, for those that are hesitant to get vaccinated, there's a incentive program. Right now, they're giving away like cash prizes weekly through Facebook on the Road to 80. This vehicle is also up for grabs. Again, they just have to get vaccinated and register. Next slide. This is just notification as to how to get tested before you leave CNMI, and then especially if you're in transit through Hawaii, because they have requirements as well. And I guess talking about all that traveling or whatnot, that leads me to why it's important to know the ins and outs of visiting or CNMI residents leaving the island, is because come next year, we're actually planning to host, we are actually going to host the Northern Marianas Pacific mini games again. This is happening from June 17 to 25th, 2022. CNMI won the bid back in 2015, unfortunately, though Saipan was devastated by Typhoon Sodolor in 2015, and then Super Typhoon Yutu in 2018, and now the pandemic. But this year, June 17, the committee of the mini games went ahead and did the launch for the 1-year countdown to start the games next year. Next slide. It will consist of about 20 Pacific Island countries competing in 9 areas, expecting to bring the participation total to roughly 1,892 visiting participants. Next slide. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you, Sizus Maasi, Olomai, Mahalo, Faifeti, I'm sorry, American Samoa, and gracias. Thank you again for the opportunity to share what's going on in our neck of the woods.
Excellent presentation. And if someone speaks Portuguese, muito obrigado as well. We are in good shape. We're going to do some strategic where there's many questions right now. Before we go to Carlos Cespedes, right now we are at 6:20 Eastern time. Let me, Mike Avery has several questions. I'm going to ask people to check the chat, those that belongs to some of you. I'm going to ask the questions that were done to Jill. Let's take a couple of questions now. Irmali, go ahead and check the first question that was made to Jill. Let's go back to the chat. And I remember Mike Avery mentioned a question. It says, Jill, what is the best for territory/PR to benefit from all of the FHWA research? Jill, can you help me to answer that question? That was at 5:52 p.m.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I wasn't even checking the chat. I should have been doing that. So what I think is the best is because I think most territories are eligible for Chapter 1 funding. State planning and research is actually Chapter 5 funding. So what I would say is look to, if you find some research projects either through the TRB site that I showed you or the pooled fund site that I showed you, if you find research that you would like to participate in, I would either, like talk to them about becoming what would be a partner of that. You'd be eligible to be a partner. It might not be a state partner, but it would be, a private partner, or you can be the subrecipient of a state DOT's funds. So any state could, they could, you would be like a, subcontractor or subrecipient. So you could receive those that way. And I think those are kind of the two really quick and easy options.
There was a second question, maybe you answered a little bit so far. He said if you can expand a little bit more about the pool fund program and how the territories can benefit.
Sure. I'm sorry, I'm having like some congestion problems. So with the pooled fund, I really, really like these projects. I think they have the most diversity and they also have the most flexibility. So really, most pooled fund projects have many, many states, many universities, many private partners, territory participation. So I think, and they range in everything that is eligible under State Planning and Research B. So they're really, really great. And you can use 100% of those SPRB funds towards it. So I think that participating in those, you get some really, really innovative ideas out there because you have so many states contributing. And it's, whatever that common goal is. And that can also be amended because I'm like right now I'm amending projects to add additional innovations on. And so I think those are, they're actually really fun to work on too, because you just have so much freedom in what you can do with those research funds.
What about, the National Highway Institute, the NHI courses? Do the territory have to pay for them with the SPR?
A lot of the NHI courses, it doesn't matter if it's state or territory. Some are, some we all have to pay for, but some are free. And more of those are becoming free. So I would check into that because the same cost would apply whether you're territory or state or headquarters or whatever. But many of those are free. Also
okay.
Looking at the federal highway, sorry, just to say additional free courses might be through federal highway as well.
I have a personal question and also Mike Avery. Do all the territories receive SPR? I know Puerto Rico has. And how much is that the 2% that you mentioned?
Yeah, Puerto Rico does, I know for sure, but I don't think that the territories do. And the one reason I was thinking, is this going to be beneficial? Because you could be a subrecipient. So say Puerto Rico or Hawaii or, even Washington State, you're working and they're going, well, we would like to know more coastal research, but they could sub-allocate those resources. And actually it'd be kind of like, let's see, what would we call it? I don't like, it's not really subcontracting, but it's really sub-allocating. And so territories would go in as a private organization. It would fall under that broad category.
What about
that's the right one, but Yeah.
Okay. Do you know if the SPR is in addition to the normal annual federal highway funds?
Yeah, it's 2% of the, actually all of the state allocation has to have, 2% for, that is specifically for SPR.
PRHTA pointed out that for fiscal year 2021, Puerto Rico has 8.4 million. And Jomo McLean from USVI, yeah, maybe he's in a exchange of a Q&A on the chat, he mentioned not in the territorial program, that his understanding is that we, and I understand we, USVI, has just one pot. And he's asking like a question, isn't that the case? Maybe Jomo, you want to clarify that statement that you have in the chat, Jomo, my friend?
Hi, good afternoon and good morning to all. Yeah, I think Jill just kind of confirmed that, so that I don't think the territories get SPR funds, but we can use our territorial highway program funds for SPR activities.
Thank you.
Dr. Colucci, if you don't mind, if I interject as well, just to build on what Jomo just said. But yeah, he's correct. The territories are not Puerto Rico, not PRHTA, but the territories, they receive one pot of funds for federal aid, as far as federal aid program funds. But one of the eligible uses for THP funds is for research and development that's necessary for planning, design, and maintenance of the highway system. So it does get to that. They don't get a specific SPR allocation, but the THP funds that they do receive can be used for research and development.
Right. Thank you, Everett.
And then circling back to the NHI question and the territories. Again, territorial highway program funds, those can be used for workforce development. So specifically for NHI courses, the territories can use their THP funds to pay for NHI courses.
Yes.
Thank you. Everett, since we have you on board, and also thank you for getting the executive director. Jomo, thank you, my buddy. Jomo has another question related to the work plan. He was saying like a multi-year work plan be submitted and approved instead of an annual work plan?
Well, typically what we do is we look annually, because honestly, if you're going to try to do something that's multiple years out, there are some 2-year work plans out there. And if that's something that you feel more comfortable in, that's fine. The reason that they do 1 year is because they really just want to make sure the funds that they have, and then not promise more than they can get done. But if you want to do a 2-year work plan, you are welcome to do so.
Okay, I'm going to leave the other questions after we have the other two presentations. It's 6:29. My next question will be from Omar El Cas, but I will leave that later on. Okay, let's continue with the next presentation, Imali. Please check the chat, my friend Jill and any other person. Maybe you can help me strategically answer some of the questions in the chat. Our next speaker is Engineer Carlos Céspedes. He's from the Puerto Rico Highways and Transportation Authority. Engineer Céspedes has a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Puerto Rico at Mayagüez. He's a project supervisor for PRHTA and over 27 years of experience in construction projects. And he will give the presentation representing PRHTA. Carlos, it's all yours.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Perfectly. Muy bien.
May I share my presentation, Imali, from my laptop?
Well, we're presenting right now. You don't want the one we have?
Yes. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Carlos. Imali, go ahead and present again.
Hi, everyone. I prepared a brief presentation for a project in Puerto Rico that used the PBS system in PR29. Next. Next, please. The ABC, Accelerated Bridge Construction, is a bridge construction that uses innovative planning, design, material, and construction methods in a safe and cost-effective manner to reduce the on-site construction time that occurs when building new bridges and replacing and rehabilitating existing bridges. Next. Under ABC, we have PBES. PBES are structural components of a bridge that are built off-site or near site of a bridge and include features that reduce the on-site construction time and mobility impact time that occur from conventional construction methods. Next. The ABC improves on-site constructability, total project delivery time, material quality, and product durability, and improve the workzone safety for the traveling public and contractor personnel. Next. Reduce traffic impact, on-site construction time, weather-related time delay, and minimize environmental impact, utility relocation, and right-of-way take. A common reason to use ABC is to reduce traffic impact because the safety of the traveling public and the flow of the transportation network are directly impacted by on-site construction-related activity. Next. This is the project description. The project consists of a superstructure replacement of bridge 1131 and 1132 over Rio Hondo, Bayamón, with 5 span and 8 beam each span. The project finish was May 3rd, 2021. Next. All start with the design and planning process. Here we have the contractor and consultant in a meeting with the DOT. Next. Next one. Here are our worry phases when the contractor brings to us an innovation over an innovation. Some of them we approve it, some of them we not. Next one. The contractor goes back to the field to take and reassure some measurement, distance, and elevation 3 or 4 times, whatever it takes to be sure of the data. Next. Then, after weeks of planning and design, some cup of coffee, and someone's headache, we came to this final model design. Next one. 2 ashtray beams joined together with a bridge deck slab and a temporary bracing to avoid any deflection during transportation. Next one. Then we have the issue of lifting and transporting the model to the project site. We look for a casting yard close to the project site, and we found it. Next one. Go back, please, a moment. We use 2 trains at each end with cable and lifting the models using 2 pins inside at each end being end section. That pin, luckily for us, are commercially available. So we just have to look at the table below, find the load we want to lift, and it gives the specific lifting pin for our model. Then we mounted the model in a dolly truck for transportation to the site. Next one. Here we have a typical demolition sequence. We saw cut the existing bridge deck, and using 2 trains on each span side, we lift it and put it in a dolly truck and ride out of the project. Next one. This is the second one. Next one. After we remove the first 2 existing models, we bring our new models, and using the same process, we install it. Then the second one. Next one. Using the new installed model, we remove the remaining 2 existing models and install the 2 new ones. Next one. Here we have the first span installed, and then we move the train forward to the next span to repeat the process. Next one. Next one. Next one, please. Here we have the meeting with all the people involved in the project. When we're explaining the whole process to all contractors, subcontractors, suppliers, inspection, foreman, in order to be sure that everyone in the project knows what and when we are doing the different activities. Next one. Next one. Then we start the project construction. Here we have a typical beams construction. The only difference is that we include the lifting pin inside the beam for lifting the model. Next one. Next one. Next one. Here you can see the pin that is inside the beam. Next one. Then we prepare the casting yard, made some soil study to be sure the soil have the capacity to support the load. Then install the proper drainage. Next one. Next one. Next one. This is the foundation for the temporary beam seat. Next one. Next one. Next one. These are the finished beam seat with the differential elevation simulating the existing one on the bridge. Next one. Then we start installing the new beams and formwork. Next one. Next one. All this formwork were done at floor level and not at high elevation like the typical bridge construction. Next one. Next one. Here we are taking some additional elevation and measurement. Next one. Next one. This is a top view of the casting yard and reinforcing steel installation. Next one. Then the concrete slab pour. It's like the traditional construction. All this activity were done at floor level, so it is much more safe for the employee, and you can get a better control of the job. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next. Here we have the bridge draining installation and removing the formwork all at floor level. Next one. Next one. Next one. Now we are going to remove the existing bridge. Now we are removing the existing bridge and the asphalt layer over the bridge deck. This temporary go back, please. The temporary steel structure to the right is to support the existing power and water pipe utility attached to the bridge and get out of the way of the new models. Next one. This is our sock-out machine. Next one. Next one. Next one. Then we mark a no heavy traffic allowed zone because the bridge was already cut. Next one. Here we have the first section removed. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one. This is the first model lifted, transported, and installed on the bridge. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next one. Next. Here we have the first session to your right, already installed, and we are installing the second one. Next one. This shows the temporary steel structure supporting the utilities. That is a water pipe. Next one. This is another temporary steel structure. Go back, please. This is the power line. Next one. This is a top view. To the right, we have the first completed span, and we are working on the second span. Next one.
Very good, Carlos.
Next one. Here we have a closure pour finish. Next one. Here we have COVID protocols like everyone. Next one. Then we install the traffic railing. Next one. Next one. We have made the diamond grinding to the finished concrete model surface. Next one. This is the project at night. Next one. For me, teamwork is the most important thing in this kind of project. Everyone, contractor, subcontractor, supplier, inspection, must be on the same page to have a project success using this method. This is our contractor, our inspectors, our project engineer, Vivian De Jesus. Next one, this is a video of the project finished, completed. That are the two bridges already in use. And the yard to your top left is the casting yard that we use, to construct all the modules and the bridge. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Engineer Cespedes. We're going to go to our final presentation. It's 6:43. Our next speaker is a friend from our family in Puerto Rico, my dear friend Piotr Gajewski. Is a design program manager of the USVI Department of Public Works. He's the co-chair in putting together this 2021 USTPE virtual meeting with Migdalia Carrion and with the technical support from Irmali from Puerto Rico ELTA. And he's going to present also with Jomo McLean. Piotr has a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from Lehigh University and over 18 years of experience in both engineering and construction in the public and private sector. Has served 9 years with the USVI Department of Public Works. He's right now, his role is a design program manager, which includes responsibilities that include utility coordinator. Engineer Jomo McLean, he's a highway program manager. He has a bachelor's and master's degree in engineering from CUNY, City University of New York. He has served as design program manager and highway program manager, and also worked with Chevron. My two dear friends, you are now in charge. Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Jomo McLean and myself will be presenting. I will let Jomo proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. And thank you, Dr. Colucci. What the U.S. Virgin Islands Department of Public Works wanted to present as a showcase is one of our Everyday Counts initiatives that we firm believer in everyday counts. And we've been involved since EDC 1 in adopting various measures and technologies. And so one of the things that we adopted, I believe in EDC 5, was the virtual public involvement. So if you can go to the next slide, Emily. So the Department of Public Works uses a variety of methods and tools to engage with the local community. To date, we've been doing a lot of public notices electronically via social media, our website, and various other means of communicating with the public. We do a lot of press releases. We do road work alerts for all road works that we know of that is occurring on our roadways. We do project updates, and we do occasional spotlights on various operations from the Division of Operations. We currently use social media for such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And we also have been doing for the last 2 years informational videos. We perform, we have a website, and we do a lot of updates regularly on our website as well. The department also has a very vast email contact listing, and we've been encouraging the community as a whole to get on our email list so that they can get direct media blasts from the department. We have just about all the media outlets that are connected, both print media, radio, television, and social media and online newspapers are all part of our email listing. The Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Agency, better known as VITEMA in the USVI, has an alert system, and we have partnered with them for major announcements that they can also blast out to the community for us. Over the last 2 years, we've also embarked on regularly more radio appearances. So myself included and the commissioner, we regularly appear on various talk shows throughout the community and throughout the islands. Next slide. Okay. These are just some of the samples of the public notices that we send out electronically and we share with the community. It's like I mentioned, the road work alert in the bottom left. That comes out anytime we want to inform the public of any upcoming changes or notices that might affect them. Our press releases, we send out regularly, and then we spotlight various aspects of the department and show the work the hard work that the men and women of the Department of Public Works are doing in the community. Next slide. Social media has been big, and I think that everyone, given the COVID outbreak, could recognize that virtually everyone's involved. We're actually doing it right now in this virtual public peer exchange. But we actually started this before the pandemic. We recognized the importance of connecting and virtually, and so we started in 2018 going into 2019, really trying to set up our Facebook account, our Instagram account, and YouTube. As you can see, we established our Facebook account in 2017, and then in 2019 we created our Instagram and YouTube page. Next slide. We continue to expand our efforts through virtual meetings, town halls, and live sessions on social media. In 2019 or in 2019, we actually held a DBE town hall meeting. that we, as a part of our public comment period, we hosted a live Facebook Live session with our DBE program to discuss our projected DBE goal, methodology, and plan. Next slide. This is a shot from the virtual town hall that was held to talk about our DBE goals and methodology. Next slide. So we like I mentioned, we have a YouTube page. I don't know who that guy is in the picture, but so we have a series of informational videos where we spotlight and we give updates regular updates on various projects and where they are. We also, one of the things that we're really looking forward to do in the upcoming years is we're also going to be utilizing the virtual arena for some of our planning initiatives, updates, and getting feedback from the community on our territorial improvement plan, and also as a part of the NEPA process for having some virtual town hall meetings and public meetings in regards to satisfying NEPA concerns for environmental assessments and environmental impact projects. Next slide. And thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Jomo. Thank you, all the territories. There's great presentations today, and I think that the effort that we've put towards our virtual public involvement has paid off. It has helped, establish public trust and transparency in our program. The public can see, what our federal funds, how they're being spent and utilized. So I think it's a very, very worthwhile effort, and we've come a long way. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent job. Thank you very much, Peter and Jomo. Before we go to the questions, we have 7 minutes. We're going to show you where you can get all the information from this first day and last year virtual summit and the first summit in Lakewood, Colorado. Irma is going to project and where you can get all the links. I already double check and I can get the information from my own smartphone. Then Irma is going to show you the first part, Irma, how to go to the Puerto Rico LTAP, please. And you will go to a particular link where is the USTPE. This will take not more than 3 minutes. Irma, whenever you're ready. Okay, then you can go to the internet. If you write PRLTAP.org, that stands for Puerto Rico Local Technical Assistance Program, you can see our map from Puerto Rico and our island on the top left. And you can see that those screens will be changing, showing our different programs. Irma will go now where we have the information from a USTPE. Just
yes,
in case,
as I recall in the opening presentation, if you go to special projects, there you will find a section of U.S. Territorial Peer Exchange, and there you will have the information regarding the first territorial exchange in Lakewood, Colorado, with all the proceedings of that event, and also the recordings for last year's virtual event. You will have them there, so you can have them with the final agenda.
thank you, Mali. For example, let's go to the first year and just enter day 1 so they can see the presentations, a couple of them, just one moment, okay? Let's go to the first year, first USTPE, that was August 20 to 28. We can check American Samoa presentation. And that's the information we got the previous time, and you can upload. And in that case, you have information from the islands, and all that information is available. Let's go to another one in Mali. And just to be for the new people that are here with us, let's check the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Island. And also we have information from them already. The slide number 4 was presented, more history and other information and their customs and traditions. And from the USVI in Mali, please. Let's go to USVI. And then you can get also information that was presented that year on August 20th, 2018. And who are the team of engineers and a little bit of the islands and income and other demographics. And last but not least, you can also go. We have Guam and also Puerto Rico. So Guam at that time we had Guam. That's the information from Guam that also was available. Therefore, all that information is available for you. And in addition, from the USTPE, you can get from our website all our technical presentations, our summits. You can also get everything that we do on our LTAP. Mali, let's go now to the question and answers. Let's go to the chat. We have pending on the chat. I mentioned we have a person at, please return back like 6:22. We had Mr. Omar El Cas. He says serving as the acting FAWA, PRH, HP, and THP manager. Do you want to make a brief comment right now, my friend? Omar, are you connected?
We cannot hear you, Omar. Can you check if you have your microphone on?
I'm going to read. He said he was searching in the FAWA's financial system using the SPR funding codes, and he has the number of the codes. That was at 5:55 p.m. And he observed there was no SPR funds under Puerto Rico and the territories.
Now?
Yes, now go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I won't take very long because I know we're running close to the end. I just wanted to introduce myself and say hello to everybody. This was a great peer exchange first day. Jill answered my question towards the end of the chat pod. So if you want to move on to another question, you can. But I just wanted to say hello.
Okay, then you're welcome, and you're welcome to be with us tomorrow on Thursday. There was an answer to Laurene Sanchez question at 6:28. Is any other question that is pending that I should be mentioned right now that maybe I skip from the chat right now? You can open your microphone and make the question aloud, my friends. Any hot issue, any questions, any concerns, any suggestions? So far, so good. I heard the Michael Everett says, thank you, Lauren. Wow, 220 miles per hour, okay? I guess that was a question. It says, we have with the traffic light signal system, and I'm working on budgeting for building resiliency that meet expectations of wind strengths up to 220 miles an hour. Therefore, they're building resiliency for the next 80 years. Thank you very much. My friends, it's 7 p.m. My lucky number is 19 hours, I live in Puerto Rico. Thank you for the excellent presentations. First of all, excellent coordination by Peter and Migdalia and Irmali on the technical part. We have 5 excellent welcome remarks, and then we have the extraordinary presentation by Jill and the presentation from all the territories that were participating. Tomorrow is the second day, and Jomo McLean, my brother, and the last phase that you saw his presentation that went to CUNY, he will be running the show. I will be on the other side. and the emphasis will be given on ER, Emergency Relief Program discussion by Engineer Greg Wolf. And we're going to have another format. We're going to have breakout sessions, and we'll divide in 3 groups. We're going to have Engineer Roy Siegel on the construction guidance/management, Engineer Richelle Takara on FMIS overview and discussion, and Jeffrey Sadowicz talking about innovative ideas for designing and construction. And that will end day number 2, and then Jomo will take care in giving the marketing and promotion for day number 3. My friend, that's all what we have for today. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I hope you understood my Spanglish. And this will end the recording for today. Thank you, thank you. Muchas gracias. Muito obrigado. Imali, any closing remarks on your behalf?
No, just thank you. And any of you could open your camera so we can take a group picture. It will be appreciated just for this first day. Thank you.
We had altogether 40, we had at one point 44 people connected, and we have 16 from American Samoa 17. We had 60 to 61 people first day. Complete success story. Okay, it's all yours, Irmali.
Okay, here we go. We still have people entering. I think.
Imali, we have a homework for Ruben. I was looking for that for Ruben. You bring the photo tomorrow, okay? Remember. Okay?
Okay, bye.
Okay. So just 1, 2, 3. Okay.
One more.
The group photo. Huh? One more?
Yes.
Okay. Over. Let me copy this one. Okay. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Got it.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Gracias.
Bye. Thank you to everyone. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Imali, stay online, and Peter, please, and Migdalia, I would appreciate, okay? The organizing committee. And any other that was on the organizing committee, okay? 5 minutes.